Answers first. First line in the description of the video will be a 48-inch by 48-inch by 1-inch thick panel of the material. It might have been looked up to find this video. Goes for anywhere from $12 to $16 currently, and it's less than that if you buy it in bulk. That's a 4-foot by 4-foot panel that's 1 inch thick, made out of paper, that is containing either corrugated cube pattern or hexagon pattern honeycomb, or hexacomb or cubicomb filler material. That's the answer. I was trying to find out how much this stuff costs. Now, if you haven't figured that out, that's a 4-foot by 4-foot panel that's essentially a gigantic version of what people usually call cardboard. Some of you are screaming because you're in the packaging or paper industry right now because it's not supposed to be called cardboard. In fact, almost nothing is supposed to technically be called cardboard. It should be called cardstock or some other wording. Okay, what started this? I didn't know the name that you're supposed to use to look up what the hell this is. It's the material you find as the filler inside of hollow core doors a lot of the time. What they do is they get paper and glue it, every other layer lined up in a pattern. Let's say every layer of sheet of paper, let's say it's 1-inch strips, they'll glue here for this one, and the next one will not glue there, and the next one will glue to the other one over here. So when you expand it out, you get a bunch of squares. That's how you make the square type. And then you expand that out and then apply glue to the edges and put it between two really thin sheets of wood. Usually it's wood veneer, and that makes the interior of a door. On the edges you put in 2x4s or whatever material, and that becomes the actual hard part of the door. But the hollow core is usually filled with these just to make sure that the wood panels don't squeeze together. And they have a lot of strength because it's not actually paper. All the links below, you can read them. There's Amazon links. They're called also Honeycomb pallet. But let's get into the technology here. First of all, it's not corrugated cardboard. It's not corrugated cardstock. And it's not corrugated paper. Although one version is corrugated, and several others are as well, but we'll get to that in a minute. It's not technically paper. It's compressed paper fiber or kraft paper with a K. That's a brand name, I'm pretty sure, but what is this? It's brown, meaning not bleached and not colored. Paper that's made by compressing fiber material together rather than having it float to the top and be really fine grade to where it would be useful for book paper or other smooth materials. This is rough grade material, and it's used for all sorts of purposes. But it's done by compressing the material together in a very thin layer from a very small amount of material using the resins and the paper material and tree material itself, I guess, or not, depending. And it's either made by making these strips and then joining them with a little bit of glue or whatever, some adhesive, every other thing. So when you expand it out, it goes from this to this and forms squares or diamonds, depending on how you look at it. And those are sometimes called cube comb or cube core. And I only saw each of those expressions used on one page by somebody analyzing it the way I am. So it's probably bullshit. And the other one is where you don't just glue a little bit of it, you glue a line of it. So instead of it expanding out like this, it expands out with a hexagon shape because the edges are glued for a longer distance. And that's where you get hexagon or honeycomb core or hexacomb interiors for doors. Following along? I don't know why you would. This is a dumb subject. I looked it up, and because it was such a frustrating thing to get an answer, there isn't one. It was such a frustrating thing to look up, I'm making this video. These are called sheets, pads, panels, or other packaging for pallets. I'm not joking. And they have a core inside of them with the outside layer being, again, it's not paper, it's compressed wood fiber, but we can call it compressed paper, which then you're saying it's not paper, but you're going to call it compressed paper. On the outside, flat sheets, and then on the inside, they have these ribbons glued to each other to either make squares or make kind of hexagons. And they provide structural integrity, rigidity, and it makes it to where if it's used for shipping something, they can sell it pretty expensively because it's only supposed to be used one way. It's supposed to have a certain PSI rating, compression strength, that sort of thing. It's acting as packaging material. So we have compressed brown kraft paper, honeycombed or cube combed or hexacombed or expanding pattern, core, sheets, pads, panels for packaging on your pallets. But it's not corrugated except if it's that square expanding type. That is actually corrugated in some cases because they'll corrugate the paper into sine waves rather than squares because it makes it stronger, and they'll use that instead. But it's not cardboard. It's supposed to be called cardstock or some other thing, and we're not supposed to call it paper because it's used by compression instead of by the other method, whatever the fuck. Anyway, to review, for anywhere from like 10 to 20 bucks, sometimes less, sometimes more, depending on if you buy it in bulk, you can buy a 4 foot by 4 foot panel. It's about an inch thick. And if you want to double that size, meaning about the size you would use for a wall or for a large pallet, the very large pallets, if you're not aware, are 4 feet wide and 8 feet long. That's what this is used for, is padding between layers when you stack things up like barrels. All that for something that's supposed to end up being thrown away at the end of it that you can get for free if you go looking hard enough. And I've used it to salvage it to make custom-sized doors by using wood veneer glued to it and pressed onto it. And they're considered acceptable for many usages. And it's actually not considered a fire hazard or anything that would be outside of the rules in many cities, counties, and states. I didn't know that until I looked it up for a project, and I did it for somebody to make some very, very lightweight doors, and also by adding some fireproofing to it, which was actually pretty easy. We just had to find the right mixture. Using it to make walls and ceiling panels, just making it waterproof. They also make plastic and metal versions, including aluminum. You can also just buy this expandable material. You're only supposed to pull it out once to the right shape, and then you feed it in and make your own, which I found some of. Oh, by the way, if you can find one of those pallets that's 48 inches by 96 inches, or 4 feet by 8 feet approximately, because it's 8 feet wide and has 4, essentially 2x4s in there, to act as a runner, they're almost exactly a 16-inch on center, so they make street legal wall material. You can use them as a basis for making a wall in some projects. I found that out in Portland when I did a project. So anyway, to review, why did this video happen? Because I couldn't find out the name for this stuff because there should be a simple name. The only names I found was cube, comb, and hexacomb, and honeycomb, core, pads, panels, pallets, and sheets. And it's so inconsistent that every company does something different. And yeah, so there isn't an answer. So I've essentially wasted my time, and hopefully I didn't waste yours, because now you know there's no one word to look it up for. So what you do is you look it up under packaging. Now here's the weird one. On Amazon, you look up pallet packaging and the word honeycomb, or just pallet and honeycomb, and Amazon.com will show you the 3 results for this, even though that's not correct name for it. But the product had to be sold on a website where if you type in any of these other words, it shows you that fluffy packaging material that's like crepe paper or whatever to wrap around Ming vases and crap like that. Again, I was trying to look this up. I couldn't find an answer. It drove me up the walls, and I figure I can't be the only one that, well, I might be, but I don't think I'm the only person who's tried to look this up and just given up. So yeah, $15 maximum for a 4x4 panel, 1 inch thick, made basically out of paper, fiber, by very specifically and technically different things that people have to have hissy fits over, apparently. But don't call it cardboard, because apparently they'll come at you with, pitchforks and frickin' torches. But yeah, it is findable, and I've included a couple of companies. Colin Box, You Can Pack, Store, Package, BGR, RPC Online, The Carry Company, and Amazon. And also your local paper recycling place might have a whole bunch of it in a room, because since it's designed to tolerate a lot of impact, it's actually kind of hard to compact down to go ahead and process the paper again. I guess that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. And God help you if you looked this up like I did and found your poor sorry butt watching this video. Bye.